symbolism of the desert. Deserts are not the featureless, empty places you may have been led to believe. They may have white sand of extraordinary purity, or red sands set in stunning landscapes of rock and plain, or silvery grey, rippling sand with unexpected tufts of vegetation. There may be wholly unexpected oases of crystal clear water, even snow. This photo is of snow in the Haugen Desert of Big Bend National Park in Texas, USA, early 2021. But what tends to characterize all deserts is that they are free of people, roads, buildings, noise and pollution. This does not mean they are without local flora and fauna. Often a desert is rich in wildlife. Wildlife that seems able to survive on virtually nothing. But dry grass, and little else. But going into the wilderness and desert alone, and this is key, has been a fundamental part of all mystic practices. A Dictionary of Symbols, J.E. Serlo. Berthelot observed that the prophets described their experiences as the purest when they were in the wilderness. This confirms the desert as the most propitious place for divine revelation. The desert as a place of retreat. Deserts only acquire their symbolism as the place of divine revelation if they become a place of genuine retreat. There is no need to suffer hardship these days. Their effectiveness may even be greater if one is fear-free with simple food and water. Their effectiveness derives from the complete lack of people, noise, pollution, and intellectual stimulation. No phones, no electricity, no computers or similar, no need to talk or even worry. They are places of such silence and stillness, you often feel close to the spiritual world without needing to do anything other than sit and look at the view. But only if you are a mystic. The final test. Can you live with yourself? C.G. Jung. The Red Book. My soul, what am I to do here? But my soul spoke to me and said, wait. I heard the cruel word. Torment belongs to the desert. Nobody can spare themselves the waiting, and most will be unable to bear this torment. For those who are able, the mind stops chattering, and you are able to gather your thoughts and rest. In other words, they are places where those burdened by the intellect can escape and get that final nugget of inspiration that helps them piece everything together. Rumi, Rubaiyat. There are no signposts in the desert. Caravans are guided by the stars. But in the garden of your life, my dear, never hope that a weeping willow will give you dates. The absence of water. Water is symbolic of spirit. And streams and rivers are symbolic of spirit input, the revelations described above. In other words, the desert is specifically for those who seek relief from no spiritual input at all, reinforcing the idea that those overburdened with intellect and ego benefit the most. Paolo Coelho, The Alchemist. You are in the desert, so immerse yourself in it. The desert will give you an understanding of the world. In fact, anything on the face of the earth will do that. How do I immerse myself in the desert? Listen to your heart. It knows all things. Oases, palm trees and reeds. As water is symbolically spirit, finding an oasis is finding spirit input, getting one's connection back rather than being cut off in the wilderness. The symbolism is reinforced by the presence of palm trees. The palm tree is a symbol of an enlightened being, the trunk as the spine, the spread of leaves at the top reminiscent of an open crown chakra. Reeds, too, may also have a symbolic meaning. The barren, destructive nature of pure intellect. The symbolism of the desert points to the dreadful, destructive effect pure, unbalanced intellect causes. The big I am. Aleister Crowley, Book of Lies, Dust Devils. In the wind of the mind arises the turbulence called I. It breaks. Down shower the barren thoughts. All life is choked. There is no spirit input, no symbolic water, because the heat of intellectual thought simply dries it up. This masculine energy, associated with the sun, and indeed the desert lion, is all symbolically related. Spirit input is cooling, but spiritual output is warming, hot energy. As such, it implies an excess of spiritual output and nowhere near enough input. And it was Shelley who wrote of the final results of such pursuits. Ozymandias, Percy by Shelley. I met a traveller from an antique land who said, 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear: My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away. Mirages. The final symbolism of the desert is pure mystic thought. Grains of sand are symbolically atoms, and mirages and shifting sands all point to the illusory nature of what people imagine to be reality. But as we have already seen, In the video of reality, we do not see reality. It is as if the entire universe has been constructed of whirling, swirling grains of sand, and the shimmering mirages of the desert simply reinforce this view. Jami, all that exists in the created universe is illusion. All that exists in the created universe is illusion, fantasy, reflections in mirrors or shadows. But the sun of guidance has dawned in the shadow of other than God. So be not perplexed in the desert of error. Who is man? The reflection of the eternal light. What is the world? A wave on the everlasting sea. How could the reflection be cut off from the light? How could the wave be separate from the sea? Know that this reflection and this wave are that very light and sea. For here duality is impossible. Impossible. Look at the travellers on the path of love, how each has a different spiritual state. The one sees in each atom of the world the sun, radiant and imperishable. Another directly witnesses in the mirror of existence the beauty of the hidden archetypes. And a third sees each one in the other, without veiling or defect.